Welcome back to our fourth series in our Cricut Design video series, teaching you how to edit patterns, PDF patterns in Affinity Publisher and getting them into the Cricut Design space. So today we're going to work with the Olson mask. So the pattern, I will provide a link in the files, but for now we're going to go to File, Open, and we're going to click on the PDF. Now we only need in this file pages 5 and 7. So go ahead and do 5, 7, and ensure your DPI is set to 72 and hit OK. So we're going to do a little cleanup. I think in the previous video I showed you how you can select items like this, and then over in your layers panel over here you can turn them on and off if you don't want to delete. But today we're going to just delete. So you have different options depending upon what you're working on. We don't need this piece. We want to get rid of anything that is outside of the pattern. So we'll get rid of this as well. And a couple of little tips for you. So this is the large or adult size face mask. So what we'll do is we're going to click on this outside piece and we're just going to drag it over just so we can get it off the canvas and see all this information here. Okay, but we need all that. So we can easily now just go take your cursor and drag over all of this. Make sure you're not getting any of your actual pattern. So we'll do that. I'll have to do it in a couple of steps, and we'll hit delete. And then we'll get this piece over here, hit delete, and these little pieces down here. Again, be careful that you're not getting your pattern piece. And delete. Now we can take this back and drag it to our canvas. That looks great. And now let's go to the next two pieces. And again, we'll do a little cleanup here. Delete some of these little things here. And like before, we can select the outside of these pattern pieces, and we can get all of this and delete it. Move this piece back up here, and now we can move the bottom piece off the canvas or out of the way of the thing you want to delete. And now we can select all of that and hit delete. And come over here and move this here. I see a little goober right there. Click it, delete it. Okay, so now we have we have our 3 pattern pieces that we need for the adult size mask. I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Save. We're going to save this as the default file name. We'll just say large, and we'll say Cricut. Okay, now I want to show you something else. So we're going to go File, Open, and we're going to open that same PDF file again. This is kind of cool. Again, pages 5 and 7. Hit OK. What I want to show you here, and I won't make it for you in Cricut, but I want to show you that you have options. So we're going to make a smaller mask, and yes, you probably could just reduce, but this is kind of a fun thing to learn how to do. So we've gotten rid of all the stuff that we don't need. In this case, this little lines that they have here, those are supposed to be the seam allowance lines, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on the exterior or the outer shape, and we're going to delete that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to, actually we have to get rid of all of these little guys here too. Get rid of those. It'll make sense in a second what we're doing here, so getting rid of this stuff. Okay, so now we have a smaller version of the mask that will work. I think it works for people with more narrow faces, and it might even be good for teens. but you know, not for little ones. But it's a nice. I would say it's probably about 25% or so smaller. Now the only challenge with this is if we go to export this into Cricut, all of these dashed lines, they're not close enough that they're going to provide us with an accurate cut file. So we're going to do a fun little trick here. You're going to do Control A, which is select all, and you're going to come over here to the stroke over here, stroke option, and you're going to change that 0 to a 2 points, to a 2. That has filled in enough of the edge so that now when you export this to Cricut, it will recognize it as a cut file, and you have a nice perfect cut file for a size medium face mask. So that's just a little tip for you. We will, I'm not going to do it for the rest of the pieces. We're going to go back to our other piece that we're working on and continue this tutorial. Okay, so I have brought back up my images that we worked on before. These are the adult or large size face mask pieces. And what I will suggest that you do is at this point in time either print this page out, these two pieces, or you can print them from the pattern themselves, because I'm going to do a little bit of manipulation and we want these to actually match the size of the pattern, extending it by 1/4 inch, and I'll show you why. So let's get this little piece a little bit more out of the way, and we can move here. So what we're going to do is we want to extend this edge here by 1/4 inch. And so we're just going to drag it down. It's not really distorting the pattern piece too much. I'm going to do that to the side. And we're going to bring this piece up a little bit more. Actually, we need this side. And we're going to do the same for this side. Extend it about 1/4 inch. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to print this page out and compare it with the original. So it shouldn't have lost too much shape in there, and it should be now 1/4 inch longer on this side and this side. And the reason why we do that is the pattern calls for you to just fold this edge over once and sew it. I don't like to have the raw edge, so I do a double fold and then sew it. It just looks nicer. So little small tip for you there. So next we're going to save these as JPEGs like we always do. So we'll go back to our top first page here, and we're going to go to File, Export. We know it's a JPEG, and we're going to hit Export. Actually, I'm going to hit Cancel. I'll show you. I missed a step here. You're going to go File, Export, and we only want page 1. Don't forget that step. Page 1, JPEG. Now export. And we can call this the face. Or we can call it Olson 1. Oh well, Olson 1. Okay. Now we'll come to the page 2. We want these to be exported separately, so we'll click on this piece here and we will hide it temporarily. So, oops, hit the wrong one. Okay, so it's temporarily hidden. And now we're going to go File, Export. Now we're on page 2. Make sure you change that. Page 2, Export. We'll call this Olson 2. And then we will come back on this one and we will hide it and bring back the other one. And now we're going to go File, Export. And still on page 2, export, and we'll call it Olson 3. So now we have our pattern pieces, and we are ready, and we verified that it is 1/4 inch longer than the pattern piece itself, so that we have that extra addition. And we're going to go ahead and import these into Cricut. Catch you over there. So we are in our very familiar Cricut canvas space now, and we're going to do also a very familiar step, which is upload the 3 JPEGs that we just created. We're going to do them one at a time. So hit upload and go to upload image, browse. I'm going to go to my asset folder that I created, and here we have our 3 pictures. I don't think you can upload them all at the same time. Let's try it. 1, 2, no you can't. Okay, Olson 1, do our standard complex. Continue. Use the magic wand and get rid of all the excess. Hit continue. Make sure you save the cut image and hit upload. And we're going to rinse and repeat for the other 2 images. Two. Let's continue. Erase all the outside stuff. Continue. Cut image. Upload. And one last one. Background. And hit continue. And we have our last cut image. And upload. Okay, so now we have all that. And the next thing we're going to do is going to work with, first we'll work with the face. So we'll say insert images. And we know it's to size, which is very nice. And what we're going to want to do is we need to have a mirror image of these because we're cutting on a single layer of fabric, and the pattern does require that it has a mirror image. So we will take, and this is what we're going to be sewing together if you want to know about which is the front and which is the side. So this is the front, and we can see by this pattern that we only can, well, let me just show you here. We're going to turn this over here. We're going to rotate it by 90 degrees. And we move this over right there. Okay. So we really don't have, we can't put them on the 12-inch mat as far as the width. But so what we're probably going to do is going to, first of all, we will take this, we're going to do a duplicate of it, Control C, Control V. We'll bring it down below here. And now we're going to flip it. So we hit flip, and we're going to flip horizontal. So now we have a mirror image to cut. Now, obviously, if your fabric was all solid color, it wouldn't make a difference. But if it's a print, it makes a difference. So we want to get these lined up. I like to have, like I said before, about a 1-inch buffer around mostly. So move this one down. Move this one here. And you can see now that you're going to need a piece of fabric that is about 9 inches by, I'll say, about 15. So doesn't always work to have it go side by side, so this way you have less waste of fabric. So from here, you want to select both of these images and do Control A if you'd like. And over here, you're going to hit Attach. And you attach them, and that way they will stay on the mat the way that you have aligned them here. They won't stay with the margin, but they will stay with this order. So now when we hit Make It, you'll see that they're on your mat. You can move them over so we have our 1-inch buffer. And you can see exactly how much fabric you're going to need so that you don't go over the edge. So like I said before, about 9 by 14 and a half would be safe. And then you would hit Cut It.